Okay, test, test, test. As usual, I have to make a quick trip to YouTube to make sure this is even working, because I don't want to waste my breath talking when I'm not getting any broadcast. Make sure this is even working, because I don't want to waste my... Okay, we're up and running. So this is my comic GRAFF TOONZ, and it's similar to Dilbert, except Dilbert's perspective is from engineers. This is from office drones, which are nowhere near as high up the food chain. And that's why my characters, the workers, don't have any names, just the bosses. So you have the big boss, who's about 4 feet tall with platform heels, and Richard Head, who's literally a dick, and is based off some of my work experiences. And part of the concept of this, and the reason why I call it GRAFF TOONZ, is everything's done on what you'd get out of an office supply cabinet. So graph paper is like really common, cheapo, crappy rulers, pencils. So you get a paper, either see Papermate sharp writers, or these Bic mechanical pencils, both very common in office supply cabinets because they're super cheap in bulk. Now usually what I use to ink is another thing you see in office supply cabinets is an ultra fine point, which not as common as a fine point, but the fine point is too thick. It's unusable for inking comics. But you do see these sometimes in office supply cabinets, so that's what I got, the ultra fine point. Now today I'm not going to be using that. Today I decided to try the Bic Crystal, because you will definitely see either these or the Bic round sticks in office supply cabinets, again for the same reason. They are super cheap in bulk. It's an okay ballpoint pen. It's not great. Trust me, real art supplies are much better than any of this. It's kind of a handicap for me doing things this way, but I kind of like the concept, just using, it's an office comic using office supply cabinet supplies. So we're not going to be using that, so we'll get rid of it. Push everything aside. Let's see, because I already did the sketching. So today we're just going to be doing the inking, and hopefully I won't fuck it up. Because one thing that sucks about inking is if you make a boner, there's two ways to fix it. You can try whiteout, which is what the old school comic guys used, or you can go digital. You can use some program like Adobe Photoshop or GIMP or Krita, I use Krita because it's a free art program. And unlike GIMP is a good programming, don't get me wrong, but that's designed more as a general program, like retouching photographs, and you can use it for art. Krita is very specifically designed for art, and I like it better when I'm doing artwork. In fact, I probably will be using either Krita or GIMP, because the one thing I don't use office supplies for is the lettering for the comic. Because handwriting it looks shitty. I'm not good at that. There's a reason why comic letters, professional people paid a professional wage. So what I do is I write out here in this script, so you can actually see the script of this comic, what the words are gonna be. You can hit pause if you want to actually bother to read this, because I'm not gonna leave it open for that long. And so I just take the script, and once this is uploaded to computer, that's when I add all the lettering, and then it's done. So let's see, let's take that off, and without further ado, let's let's begin. And the first thing we're going to do is the borders. So let's make sure we're getting ink flow here. This probably isn't going to be as good as the marker, but I just decided, hey, what the fuck, let's do something different. Well, still, ugh. So I already put a mark where I didn't want to. So that'll again be, okay, top is here. So I'll go all the way down here, and of course the rule puts a little nidge in it. Okay, I'm going to confess that even though I'm supposed to be authentic, I'm supposed to use these shitty rulers because this is something like you'd find in a supply cabinet. I've been known to use metal rulers once in a while. It is kind of cheating, but they just they don't get dinged. These things sometimes they get dinged in the edge, and then that will show up when you're tracing, using it to run a line, which sucks. It's a lot harder to ding steel. Okay, try and line this up. Doing the best that I can. What the fuck? You cunt. God damn it, I get zero fucking ink flow. Jesus Christ, you fucking prick. Alright. So let's try this again. Oh, you fucking prick. I don't think I've ever done a stream without swearing, even once, because there's always some kind of a fucking problem. Okay, we are getting ink flow. Hello, thank you. Thank you. Of course, it's misaligned. If it just fucking went when I told it to the first time, there wouldn't be that. But I will fix that in Krita. I don't think digital's too much of a cheat because I did have a computer and Krita is free. So I absolutely could have done the digital section from my work computer. Well, except my boss probably would not have liked me fucking around when I'm supposed to be working. This is work too that I unfortunately don't get paid for, but okay, the lines in this don't look bad. And it supposedly dries like almost instantly, but I'll give it a little time to dry because it doesn't go directly from inking to computer. What you do is you take an eraser, and the eraser will take away all the pencil lines that you can sometimes see because you didn't get the pen exactly over it, and that's when you transfer it over to computer. I mean, I could do the entire thing digitally. I have a Wacom, but I really like having a traditional copy. I mean, a traditional, doing this traditional as much as possible. Because if you forget to upload your drawings to say DeviantArt or some other online art program, and your computer decides, hey, I'm going to crash now, and you lose everything in your hard drive, then all your digital drawings are gone. I mean, this could get trashed too. I mean, people have like house fires and all kinds of other miserable shit, floods or whatever that can take out your traditional copy, but it seems to be less likely. So, yeah, this edge is very rough. The edges on these shitty plastic rulers just don't seem to last that long. At least for me, they don't. Maybe other people have better luck with these than I do, but I mean, these have the advantage is it's clear and you can see through it. So actually, it's a little better for lining up. But honestly, I like the steel ones better. Pain in the ass, that didn't fucking come out right. So that's another one I will fix. And that's another one I'll fix in Krita. I always get little fucking annoying mistakes. Pink. Okay. Dump, 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 dump. This pen's working a little better than I thought it would. These things, from what I've read online, I haven't used one of these in years. Because like I've said in another video, these crystals, if you had it long enough in the way old days, long and far ago, used to leak eventually. And from what I've heard from people online, Bic fixed that, so that's not a problem anymore. But that's why I switched to the Bic round sticks. They also go back a ways, because those never leaked on me. But at least from what I've heard, these won't. Because they actually improve them. Oh, don't bend the paper, motherfucker. Now I could have used printer paper because that's also something you get that's extremely plentiful in office supply cabinets. But I kind of like the graph paper. It gives it a real nerdy look. And plus, obviously, you can use it as a reference, especially For doing the borders, I didn't need to do any kind of measuring. I just used graph paper and it made life easier. A lot of people probably won't like it, but it does go along with the motif, which is GRAFF TOONZ Office. Now Dilbert is way better. I mean, the concept is very similar. So yes, Scott Adams did influence me, but as I said earlier, the perspective is different. These guys, the workers, they just beat boys. That's all they are. They just get beaten up by the bosses. You know, paid crap, cheated out of raises. If you've had shitty jobs, you've been here. I don't know why, but it's really hard for me to see this stupid line. And again, it didn't fucking write. What the hell is it from right to left? It doesn't want to fucking write. God damn it. You fucking pecker. This is so annoying. This is one issue I never fucking have with the marker. Is that thing doesn't give a fuck. What angle I have it at, where I start drawing from it, it just draws. Now the downside is that thing is it takes forever to dry and it leaches through. So if I don't have something underneath it like that, it'll leach right through the next page. But on the other hand, again, it does fucking write consistently. So, go, just fucking write, you cunt. I swear to God, to draw is to swear. There's probably most guys, people, I'll say, don't have the same necessity, but I sure do. Just because it's one fucking problem after another. It's so very irritating. Okay. I'm having crappy eyesight. Okay, I actually did draw that. Did I draw these? It's hard to tell. I just pencil and ink over it. Let's see, is there anything I didn't ink over here? Yeah, this pen is rather thin, so it's friggin' hard to tell between it and the ink. It's not so bad for longer lines, but short lines, it's like, did I ink that already? Ugh. Okay, well, if I to tweak lines, again, it's something I'll fix in Krita. Yeah, most anchors these days they do strictly digital. And they also have fancier tablets. Like I have a little Wacom tiny tablet, so you draw on the tablet and what you draw is shown on your computer screen, so there's kind of a disconnect on that. But the fancier tablets, you draw directly onto the pad. The pad is its own screen. And I think if you get a large enough one, and from what I seem to recall, Scott Adams' one was enormous, it's pretty nice. But I have neither the money or really the space for that. So let's see. All right. So again, use this little magnifier to see what I didn't do. That's really impossible to tell. Wish my memory was a little bit better. Okay, here's another cheat. Okay. Okay, so now I know it's done. Let's do with that. So nope. So there we go. So all the lines is done. Well, internal on that panel. I still have to do external. Oh, this is awkward. Okay, I'm going to drag this down here temporarily to try and make it a little easier. Motherfucker. Now the thing is, you don't want to go too far. Like sometimes you can fuck up and get an extra square. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 3 down. That's all I need to know. Now 3 up. Oh, it's starting to get hot in here, so I had to shut off the AC. the one I'll have to fix. I'll tell you, thank fucking Christ for digital. So like I said, that would wind up, I'd have to use whiteout on that if I was sticking traditionally and not doing anything on computer. Okay. So I didn't do the top of this at all, I see. Okay, let's go back to the smaller one. Doot. As you can kind of see, I'm not very good at talking and drawing at the same time. Okay, so now that's done. Push this up. So I don't have to double back like ever with the marker, but from what I see, I get better results doing that with this. Okay, doot. So yeah, I guess that's the lesson with this is go over it a few times. I mean, like I mentioned, this is not by any, even the remotest means, an art pen. And unless you consider doodling an art form. That's basically what it's made for, is just taking down notes, post-its, you know, maybe notes at a meeting when your boss is going blah, 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 blah. And you know you're never going to remember any of that because it's boring as fuck, so you write it down. Okay. And let's see. Oh, I don't want 03. And now normally for comic inking, I'd either use a fountain pen, or for straight lines, I'm going to use a ruler. I'd use this. As you can see, it's got a pretty fine point. But since this is my office supply cabinet, derived comic, we're not doing that. We're using this shitty pen. Or more commonly, a Sharpie Ultra Fine. Okay. Skipper, don't skip. And this guy is getting the screw from his boss, and he's pretty angry. It's like, bend over and take it, bitch. That's what you are working for here. You're a bitch. And he's got the Richard Nixon male pattern baldness. Tricky Dick. One thing about fountain pens and dip pens is they definitely feel way better writing on a paper. Especially better than a cheap ballpoint pen like this. Actually, I did kind of make a mistake in saying that the next stage to this is, well, the next stage is erasing, but then it doesn't go directly to computer. The final stage is I actually do a little bit of pencil shading. This character is Dickhead, and I think you can kind of see where he got his name from, and it's a great name for a boss. Well, actually, Richard Head. But you can see how easily that translates to dickhead. Oh, this looks like shit. So I did have to thicken that up a little bit. Yeah, the ink on these is supposed to dry super fast, unlike markers, which take a little bit longer. And gel pens do too. Especially the Pilot G2 gel pen. If you don't want smudge, you better let that sit there for a while before you erase it. Okay. Of course, my eraser pulled a fucking disappearing act on just in time. Oh, that is so annoying. I swear to God, what the fuck? Always disappears the worst fucking times. Okay, oh, here we go. So again, it'll usually be pink instead of this blue, but this is also very common in office supply cabinets. So let's do a light erase. They have plastic erasers which do a better job for pencil. They're much more aggressive. But you don't really want a super aggressive eraser when you just want to erase the pencil and not really lighten up the ink much. So this ink is so far taking this rather well. So until this point, erasing didn't really show much because I did a pretty good job of catching it on the lines. But with this guy, not so much. Same for dickhead. There's a lot of sketch lines here that I want gone. I think I hit that pretty good. Here we go. Give me the thing to fill in the gaps. Probably wind up doing that anyway. So let me take a look at some of my other drawings. Sometimes I do use those for references to shading. So yeah, light shading, heavy shading. Let's see, we've done monitors before. I like to be consistent, so I'll go back and check. Yeah, heavy shading, light shading. Kind of darker on the monitors. Walls are nice and white, floors are a little bit lighter. So let's see, come out here, you. Get those keys out of the way. Okay, so we'll do the sharpwriter. As I said before, these are either loved or hated. That's a cubicle wall. So here you can see is how a GRAFF TOON comic is created. Like I say, normally I have all different lead grades. A whole mechanical pencil collection with each one varying in hardness. So I get a really nice selections for darks and lights when it comes to shading, but again, since we're just restricting myself to office supplies, I got number 2HB and that's it. I've tried to avoid it because it makes kind of a crappy background noise, but I'm starting to really swelter here, so nobody's watching this stream anyway. So I'm gonna kick the AC back on. Oh, why did I get stream tips? I don't want it anymore. Go away. Alright, Chad. Okay. I don't want it anymore. I want that fox to go away. Let's see what we do here. I'll do that on YouTube. Test. Push it through. Go back to OBS. So yeah, I guess if I want to enter commentary on this, which I don't, I just have to do that from the YouTube page, not from OBS. I turned on the AC and it's decided not to turn on. So, oh, fucker. So here we go, back here. Let's see. This as light as possible. Oh, finally, thank you. And here comes the AC. And sorry if that's annoying, but I just didn't want to broil. Because I am not a lobster. Okay. There we go, doing a little crisscross here in a somewhat lame attempt at trying to duplicate the cubicle cloth wall. So there we go, whatever. This is a lot of grunt work. From what I read, and it doesn't surprise me in the least, is most comic artists just aren't particularly fond of backgrounds. In fact, if you look, a lot of strip comics don't have this level of detail as far, even this. I mean, this is just very basic. It's nothing. But even this, all this would be like white. Yeah, 'cause if you look at newspaper strip comics, not all of them, but a lot of them during the day. The weekend always had color, but during the weekdays, a lot of them just had strictly, literally black and white, no gray. So let's see, where did I put the pen? So we're going to give this guy a black belt. So back to inking. Yeah, ballpoints generally really suck at fill. Gel pens and especially markers are way better. Yeah, so when I do markers, shit like these chair cushions comes out much better. Like I say, markers, you just don't get these white spaces like you're getting with this. Some things I actually do want just black. It, it would actually make an interesting YouTube video. And I guess it's hard to pull off because if you don't work somewhere, they're not going to let you come into their office. But it would be an interesting video, at least to a nerd like me, is various company office supply closets, what they had. Be interesting to see if there was any difference in, say, primarily an engineering company, what they had in their supply closet compared to an accounting firm. I mean, what would a stream be without? It's almost like a mandatory cough. I remember a talk show host one time, and he was saying that studio mics usually have something called a cough button. So you get a cough, you just press down and mute the mic. And some mics do have, cheaper mics do have a volume knob on them, but I don't know how many actually have just a mute button. Mine certainly doesn't. Mine doesn't have any volume at all controls. You do that from the computer. And they save some money and pass it on. The mic I have, a Razer Mini, is pretty inexpensive for the quality I get out of it. Okay. So let's see, just out of curiosity, did I get any bleed through on that? Not really. I mean, you can see it, but it's not bled through. Or ghosting, as they call it. Alright. I'd rather shade the shoes with a pencil rather than actually inking them. I went through a long dry spell with this comic. I just couldn't come up with any new ideas. I thought I'd remembered everything that shitty that happened to me where I used to work. turns out I'd forgotten a couple of things. So I have another sketch completed, waiting to be inked. And I have a third. I have a third script. That's the word I was trying to pull out of my brain. I have a third script, and that needs to have a sketch made. See this? That's actually the back. There's a lot of bleed through on this, and that's because I use that Sharpie marker. Sharpie markers, like I said, they bleed like fuck. And they take forever to dry. But they do look better. But I guess if I was just going to go through ease of use, the Bic would come out ahead. Here we go. Get a nice roundness to his head. So Dickhead is not flat. that's too much darkness. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay. So we got a little shading in here. Oh yeah, the floor too. The floor is not white. The walls are. I mean, it's an office, so I'll just leave the. It's an office, so I'll just leave the walls white, but not the floor. Offices usually have some kind of crappy generic gray carpet. It helps with sucking all the cheer out of the room. It's like, you're not here to be happy, motherfuckers. You're here to work. And nothing says work like gray. You know, like a gray, shitty day. You know, it's raining outside. I mean, nobody's having any fun. I think that's why the Beach Boys were so popular for so long. I mean, even somebody that doesn't live near a beach, you might not even like the beach that much, but what it represents is freedom. I mean, if you are at the beach, generally speaking, you're not at work. You know, it symbolizes doing what you want to do, not what you have to do. Alright. I think this is pretty much done. It's ready for the digital stage. Which I may make a separate video for that. Those are actually easier because I don't have to set up a camera at all. I just set up OBS to record what's on screen. Yawn. So am I missing anything? Could be, but fuck it. Done for now with this one. And here's a quick preview of my next comic. I may have gotten the wrong lyrics for this. Oh, I think that's right. Let's double check that. Why is my mouse not working now? Ugh. Jesus H fucking Christ. God, this USB suck. Here we go. Out, in. Fuck you, USB. Fuck you. Oh, here we go. And now my camera's not fucking working right. So let's try, let's see here. Your capture. Deactivate, activate. Oh, I know why. Because this killed my light. Very simple fix. Okay, so let's go to properties, configure video. Boink, so it looks like everything here is the same. And I fucked up and took off my shirt, but as my fat gut is showing, I'll fix that in the video editor. There's a reason why I wear a shirt when I do this. So my placement gets fucked up. It doesn't make me look bad. So, okay. Okay. Get ink. So hopefully the stream didn't get cut off, but it's pretty much done with it anyway. Oh, fuck, the window capture isn't where I want it to be. So let's... I don't want it there, there. Jesus Christ. I don't know how shit gets changed on that. It should just stick to where I fucking put it. Okay, so that's all ticket one. And this is a preview of the one after that. That has to do with the generosity of the company. So it looks like I'm done. We can stop streaming.